In this video, you'll learn about how you can access and use Corticon Business Rules from an OpenEdge application. By defining business rules in Corticon instead of hard-coding them in OpenEdge, you can easily modify and maintain them without having to change your application source code. In this video, we'll use a sample application that has two projects in Developer Studio, OpenEdgeProject and CorticonProject. To use Corticon Business Rules in an OpenEdge application, you need to do two things on the OpenEdge side. First, you must align data definitions in OpenEdge with the rules vocabulary in Corticon. A Corticon vocabulary is the set of terms used when defining business rules. To do this, you can export a pro dataset or temp table as a business rules vocabulary definition, or .brvd file. This file can then be imported into Corticon to generate a vocabulary. Second, you have to add code to your OpenEdge application to connect to and use a Corticon decision service using the Business Rules API. A decision service is a set of deployed Corticon business rules. Before you get started, you should set up an integrated development environment for OpenEdge and Corticon. To set up an integrated development environment for our sample application, we start by adding Corticon to our Developer Studio environment. We double-click the executable file for Corticon in the installation directory. The Progress Corticon Studio Setup wizard appears. We follow the wizard and select Yes when asked, do you want to configure Progress Corticon Studio with Progress Developer Studio for OpenEdge? We retain the default settings in the remaining steps to complete the installation. Corticon is added to the Developer Studio environment. Now, to start the OpenEdge web server, we open the proenv command prompt and enter protc start. Next, we modify ProPath to access the OpenEdge Business Rules API. We select Progress OpenEdge, ProPath. On the Properties page, we select Add External Library, and then select the OpenEdge.BusinessRules.pl file from the file system, and then click OK. We've now set up the integrated development environment. In our sample application, we want to use business rules in Corticon to evaluate a customer's credit and, based on their credit rating, return credit terms for the current customer order. The Pro dataset, DSCust, contains information about the customer and customer order. To align the rules vocabulary with the data definitions in our Pro dataset, we can export the Pro dataset data definitions in a .brvd file, and then, on the Corticon side, use the brvd file to create a rules vocabulary. To generate our .brvd file, we select File, Export, Progress OpenEdge, Business Rules Vocabulary Definition. The Export Business Rules Vocabulary Definition wizard appears. By default, the wizard displays the Workspace Resources tab that lists files in the workspace. Next, we select dscustorder.i that contains the dscust pro dataset and its temp tables. These are displayed on the right. We select all of them. We click Browse next to the Definition File field. Select a file location and specify a name for the brvd file. Then we click Finish. The brvd file is generated and saved in the file location we selected. Let's assume that someone else creates a Corticon vocabulary from the brvd file, defines a set of rules, and deploys them as a decision service. Now let's look at how to add code to access and use a decision service from an OpenEdge application. We must add code that does the following. Establishes a connection to the decision service. We must do this once for each web session. Invokes the decision service, passes data to it, and then receives the updated data. Receives messages from the decision service, and processes the messages and updates the database as required. OpenEdge provides macros that make it easy to add code to perform the first three tasks. To connect to a Corticon decision service, we use the brconnect macro. To insert the code, we type brconnect and then press the spacebar. We modify the macro code to provide the URL for the decision service, the version number of the decision service, and the name of the decision service. We must also add a connect method statement. Next, we add code to invoke the decision service. We type brinvoke in our source code, and then press the spacebar. As you know, in OpenEdge, you can pass data using a single input-output parameter, or using separate input and output parameters. The macro inserts code for passing a pro dataset as a single input-output parameter. In our example, we use this method. We replace datasetHandle with a handle to the dscust pro dataset. We also replace decisionServiceRef with the decision service name we used earlier. To receive messages created by the decision service, we use the brGetMessage macro. We type brGetMessage and press space. As before, you can replace datasetHandle and decisionServiceRef with actual values. Because we don't need to use the dataset here, we just replace decisionServiceRef with the decision service name we used earlier. As you can see, the macro inserts starter code you can use to update your database. You need to decide how you want to process the messages and update data in your application. In our sample application, we simply want to display the message, so we delete the starter code and replace it with our own code. Now let's test our sample application. First, we ensure that the decision service, Finance Review, is published to the Corticon server and the database connection of the application is present. We run the application in Developer Studio. We enter Customer ID as 22. We receive a message from the decision service indicating that the customer credit rating is good and the order terms value is net 30. We have now successfully accessed and used Corticon Business Rules in an OpenEdge application. To learn more, take the Using Corticon Business Rules in a Progress OpenEdge Application course.